Hello everyone. I'm sure most of you love to have fruits, but many of you might not like vegetables. But the fact is that a number of fruits of various plants are used as vegetables. They are cooked and eaten. Fruits are eaten raw, and since they are packed with nutrients, they give us a lot of energy. They refresh our tired bodies and revive our dull spirits. Today, in this session, I will be dealing with the classification of fruits. But before going into the classification, let us see the definition of fruits and their significance. What are fruits? A fruit is the fertilized, mature and ripened ovary of a flower. Besides being a source of food for all animals, fruits serve as the seed dispersal vehicle that helps to scatter seeds far and wide. This helps the plant to continue to propagate the species. Now let us go into how fruits are formed. Fruits are formed from the ovaries of flowers as a result of pollination and fertilization. Now we have post-fertilization physiological changes that lead to the ovary changing into the fruit wall, while the ovules change into seeds. Now we have two types of fruits based on which part forms them. Now a fruit that develops solely from the ovary and its contents is known as a true fruit, as in the case of mango, banana, grapes, etc. While a fruit that develops from the ovary and its contents along with additional parts of the flower like the receptacle, petals, sepals, etc. forms what is known as an accessory fruit. This happens in the case of the apple, pineapple, etc. Now coming to the types of fruits, as I told you, based on the number of flowers and the number of ovaries that are involved in the formation. We have the simple, the aggregate and the multiple. A simple fruit is formed from a single flower. The ovary of a single flower changes into the simple fruit. But in the case of the aggregate fruit, we have a single flower containing a large number of ovaries and they fuse and join to form the aggregate fruit. Then we have the multiple fruit where an entire inflorescence is involved. A number of flowers of the entire inflorescence join together and form the multiple or composite fruit. Now, let us go into them one by one. The first one, the simple fruits. So, fruits, they are formed from a single pistil, mainly of a syncarpus gynoecium of a flower, and they may be either true or accessory, and they are further classified into dry and fleshy fruits based on the nature of their fruit wall or pericarp. The second one, you have aggregate fruits, fruits formed from a number of pistils, a number of apocarpus gynoecia of the same flower are involved. And here the individual units may be berries or other types like achenes, drupes, follicles, etc. And they may be termed accordingly as iterio of berries, iterio of achenes, iterio of drupes or iterio of follicles. In the case of multiple or composite fruits, the fruits are formed by the development of a number of pistils, often with the accessory parts joining with each other, that is of an entire inflorescence, and thus forming a sorosis in the case of mulberry, pineapple, jackfruit, or a syconus as in the case of figs. Now coming to the types of simple fruits. Simple fruits are divided into two types. First, the dry and the fleshy. That is based on the nature of the pericarp or the fruit wall. In the case of dry fruits, the wall becomes really dry and thin at maturity. And they may be again of three types based on the mode of dehiscence or the splitting. Here we have dehiscent, indehiscent and schizocarpic. In the case of fleshy fruits, the wall becomes really soft and fleshy and pulpy. And they are of a number of types based again on their pericarp structure. We have the drupe, the berry, the hesperidium, the pepo, and the pome. Now coming to the types of simple fleshy fruits. The first one is the drupe. Now this is a one-seeded simple fleshy fruit where the pericarp has three distinct layers. The outermost you have the epicarp or the exocarp, which forms the skin, the skin that you peel off. And the innermost you have the endocarp, which is the hard stony part. And in the middle you have the mesocarp, which is the real pulpy fleshy part. Now think of the mango. In the case of the mango, you have the outer skin which we peel off. Then you have the fleshy pulp in the middle, and deep inside you have the stony endocarp. So that is the best example, but you have other fruits like cherry, plum, peaches, all coming under this category. Along with the coconut, where the mesocarp is not pulpy but fibrous, and that is the husk of the coconut that we normally remove before taking the seed out. That is, the husk is used as a coir. This is a raw material for the coir industry. Now we have the berry, which is again a simple fruit wherein the epicarp is thin and the mesocarp and the endocarp, they fuse and form a pulpy mass in which the seeds are embedded. This is in the case of grapes, banana, guava, brinjal, etc. Number of vegetables that we have. Then going into the hesperidium. This is a special type of berry wherein you find a leathery rind covering it. Think of the citrus fruits, the oranges and the lemons. In this case, the leathery rind is formed by the fusion of the epicarp and the mesocarp. They contain a lot of aromatic oils. And the endocarp actually forms the thin membranous partitions that divides the contents into segments. And inside you have the juicy placental hairs or the trichomes, that is the edible part, which is the most tasty part of the fruit. The next one is the pepo, which is again a special type of berry formed from an inferior ovary, as in the case of cucurbits. Think the cucumber, the melons, the gourds, pumpkins, all that comes under this category. And here you find the epicarp forming a relatively hard rind, and the mesocarp and the endocarp forms the interior of the fruit, having many seeds embedded in the endocarp. Then you have the pome, which is an accessory fleshy fruit formed by many carpels that are joined to each other and then surrounded by the thalamus or the receptacle. In this case, the real ovary is the core of the apple, which is surrounded by the thalamus or the receptacle, which becomes fleshy. So thus, this is an accessory fruit, as in the case of the apple and the pear. So to sum up the different types of fruits, we have the fruits broadly divided into simple and aggregate and composite. The simple fruits are divided into fleshy and dry. Fleshy or succulent, we have drupe, berry, hesperidium, pome, pepo. Under the aggregate fruits, we have the iterio of follicles and berries and drupes and achenes. And under the composite fruits, we have the sorosis and the cyconus. Now, we will be dealing with the dry fruits in the next session. Thank you.